He's not acting out, he's auditioning. Every black boy who has grown up without a father in the home eventually does the same thing. He starts scrolling, not for entertainment, for instruction, for a voice that sounds like authority, for a man who looks like him and seems to have figured something out. He is looking for a father in the feed, and someone is always there to answer the call. The void has an algorithm. After more than 20 years as a school psychologist and over 1,000 psychoeducational evaluations, I have sat across from hundreds of black boys who were officially diagnosed with ADHD, ODD, or emotional disturbance. What many of them actually had was an unanswered question. Who am I supposed to become? And who is going to show me? When there is no father in the home to answer that question, the boy doesn't stop asking. He just starts asking somewhere else. And today, that somewhere else has a homepage, a recommendation engine, and an infinite scroll designed to keep him watching. The algorithm doesn't love him, but it knows exactly what he's hungry for. It watches him watch. It learns what makes him pause, rewind, and come back. And then it feeds him more of it, whether that content is building him or breaking him. The feed has become the village elder we failed to provide. What he's actually looking for. Let's be precise about what a boy without a father is searching for, because it is not simply a man. He is looking for 5 things that healthy fatherhood provides. Witnessing, someone who sees him specifically, not black boys in general. Him, his gifts, his mess, his potential, his name. Permission, someone with enough authority in his eyes to tell him, you are allowed to be great, you are allowed to take up space, you are allowed to exist fully. A template for masculinity. Not performed toughness, not hypermasculinity. A real model of what a man does when things go wrong, when love is hard, when the world doesn't cooperate. Accountability without punishment. Someone who holds him to a standard because they believe in him, not because they need to control him. Lineage, the sense that he comes from something, that there were men before him who endured, built, loved, and left something worth inheriting. When none of those things are present at home, he finds proxies, and the feed is full of men willing to be the proxy, for better and for worse. The fathers he finds. Some of what the algorithm delivers is genuinely powerful. There are black men on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and podcasts who speak with the kind of clarity, love, and grounded authority that changes boys. Men who talk about discipline, purpose, mental health, ancestral identity, financial literacy, and emotional honesty. Men who look like him and refuse to perform in vulnerability. I have worked with boys who credit a content creator with saving their life, who say that a YouTube channel gave them language for something they had been feeling for years but could not name, who found in the feed a man who told them, you matter and here is evidence. That is not nothing, that is not replacement fatherhood, but it is real mentorship, and it lands in a boy who is starving for it. But here is what I need every educator, counselor, parent, and school psychologist reading this to understand. The same hunger that leads a boy to wisdom can lead him to destruction, and the algorithm does not distinguish between the two. The drill rapper who glorifies early death and codes it as inevitable. The influencer who teaches that women are obstacles and dominance is love. The grifter who sells him a hustle that looks like success and leads to a cage. The extremist who gives him an enemy to blame and calls it identity. All of them show up in the feed. All of them speak to the same void. All of them sound like authority when you have never heard a father speak your name with intention. A boy who has been given no map will follow anyone who offers directions, regardless of where the road ends. What this means for those of us who work with boys. If you are a school counselor, a teacher, a psychologist, a coach, or a community member who works with black boys, this is your clinical and ethical charge. You are not a substitute father, but you may be the only adult in a boy's life who looks him in the eye, speaks his name, and acts like his future matters. That proximity carries weight whether you claim it or not. Here is what the research and my 2 decades of practice tell me works. Name him, not his behavior, not his diagnosis. Him, tell him what you observe, his intelligence, his creativity, his resilience, and mean it. Boys who have been seen by one adult who truly meant it carry that witness for life. Bring real men into the room, not motivational speakers, not assembly guests, black men who will have an actual conversation, who will tell the truth about who they are. Mentoring works when it is relational, not transactional. Talk about the feed directly. Ask him who he watches. Ask him what those men are teaching him. Do not shame the content. Explore it with him. Use it as a diagnostic. The men he is drawn to tell you what he is hungry for. Be honest about what fatherhood was supposed to provide. Not every boy has language for what he lost or never had. When we name it, you deserve to have a man in your life who witnessed you, who held you accountable, who showed you what manhood looked like. Something often breaks open. Grief can finally have an address. Acknowledge the history. Father absence in black communities did not begin with personal failure. It was engineered. Mass incarceration, economic exclusion, the deliberate fracturing of black family structures across centuries. These are documented realities, not excuses. When a boy understands that the absence has a history, it stops being a verdict on his worth. The feed cannot raise him, but we can. Every day that a black boy wakes up without a father in his home, he makes a decision, consciously or not, about where to look for instruction on how to be a man. We can lament that and do nothing, or we can show up with enough intention, enough presence, and enough love that when he scrolls, he already knows the answer, because someone in his real life already gave it to him. The goal is not to compete with the feed. The goal is to be so present, so real, and so invested in who he is becoming that the feed becomes supplemental, not foundational. He is not lost, he is looking. The question is whether we are findable. What are the black boys in your community finding in their feeds? And what are we doing in schools, in homes, in communities to make sure something real is waiting for them when they look up from the screen? Drop your thoughts below. This conversation matters.